Gamescom 2017 has finally come to a close, and there's been a whole bunch of announcements, big and small. Big and small. Everyone from Activision to Ubisoft had something to show off, and for the most part they didn't disappoint. Mostly. So let's take a look at our favourite announcements from Gamescom 2017.
Microsoft helped kick off Gamescom with their rather underwhelming conference, which was meant to be their final sales pitch for the Xbox One X. Most of their time was spent showing off the One X, touting it as the most powerful console ever made, and how over 100 games will be enhanced for the console. They did announce some new games as well, like Jurassic World Evolution, which looks cool, Recore Definitive Edition, and they've got an extended partnership with Bluehole for timed exclusivity for PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds on console. But Microsoft's showing was generally disappointing, especially for those who were expecting some cool exclusives to go along with the One X. Perhaps Microsoft's biggest moment though was the announcement of the long-awaited Age of Empires 4 and remastered editions of Age of Empires 1 through 3. We don't know much about Age of Empires 4 other than it will be developed by Relic Entertainment, who are perhaps best known for their work on the Dawn of War and Company of Heroes games.
So we did cover the Microsoft conference at length in a video earlier this week, so if you missed that, you can go and check out what we thought of everything in detail.
Should be on the screen right now, actually. Overall, it was just, yeah, it was like a passable thing, I think. It was just wasn't quite, you know, no surprises.
It was just
really
a sales pitch, though, essentially.
Yeah,
it was like the exact time when they were releasing pre-orders for the Xbox One X. That coincided with the conference, like, look how good our console is, and you can order it right now.
Which is probably the biggest news from it, really, wasn't it? That it's available to pre-order. Age of Empires was a nice surprise, but I mean, we go into detail on that in the podcast, and there'll be an extract tomorrow.
It was EA's time to shine on day 2, and Blizzard previewed some of the stuff that would be shown in detail later on. EA demonstrated a new game mode for Star Wars Battlefront 2 called Starfighter Assault. This new mode has players battling it out in the series' signature X-Wing and TIE fighters as they attempt to take out each other's capital cruisers. EA also announced that Battlefield 1 will be getting a new edition dubbed the Revolution Edition, which includes the base game and all expansion packs for $60. Battlefield 1 is also getting a new mode called Incursion, which is a competitive focused set of maps intended to appeal to esports players with its built-in tournament functionality. As for game announcements, EA announced Faye, a puzzle platformer reminiscent of Journey and Metroid, and some new trailers for FIFA 18 and Need for Speed Payback. They also spent 8 minutes talking about Cats and Dogs DLC for The Sims 4. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. That last line was a true fact, a true statement. That did happen. By now you're kind of guessing that Gamescom isn't quite the extravaganza that E3 is, because it's not all about the conferences at Gamescom, it's about the stuff that happens in between.
But they didn't have a Jesse Wellens moment this time,
though.
No. But they did have GIF-Pom, like the Instagram famous dog. 6.4 million followers on Instagram.
Pretty cute.
It's a cute dog, don't get me wrong, but I mean, if that's really going to sell you the game Sims 4, because I mean, I don't know. I don't get the rationale behind it, but it sells some games apparently.
It's like rolling on a Porsche on the stage or whatever, like Microsoft did with Forza. I can't even remember what car it was.
911. It was a Forza. How can you not remember that?
Talking about Battlefield, this Incursions mode looks really cool. 5v5, it looks nice to me, you know, and that's the kind of gameplay that I think that I will enjoy more.
I think that Battlefield is all about scale. It's all about the size of the maps and the size of the battles. It's a brave move for them for sure. I mean, going 5v5, definitely worth checking out. And another game that kind of stood out, I guess, was Faye, which stood out for me because it's a game with 2 letters in its title. But a lot of websites, you know, like Polygon and Rock Paper Shotgun I saw as well, they were pretty excited about it. All these websites were excited about it, but Jake is not. Jake is the indie man here, and he is not excited, so just be careful, right? But you bear that in mind. Day 3 gave us a shed load of announcements, many of which took us by complete surprise. Biomutant was probably the most eye-catching. It's an open-world kung fu action RPG made by Swedish developer Experiment 101 and published by THQ Nordic. Biomutant lets you play as a red panda-looking thing as you explore a post-apocalyptic world filled with mutated animals as you embark on a quest to save the Tree of Life. It actually looks a lot more interesting than it sounds on paper. But Biomutant wasn't the weirdest game shown off at Gamescom. There was a debut trailer for The Good Life. It's a murder mystery game from Swery, the batshit developer that made batshit games Deadly Premonition and Dark Dreams Don't Die. The Good Life carries on that proud batshit tradition, with players left to explore a rural English town trying to solve a murder case. But at night, all the town's residents and the player turn into cats.
You look at the trailer and it is like kind of crazy because it switches halfway through. It's kind of dark and sinister to begin with, and then it's like...
And there's some like live action footage in there that I noticed.
It's not a traditional way that you do trailers, is it? It kind of breaks the mold for
because it's trying to be off-putting.
Yeah, it's different and it's notable for that. So it's got my attention. But then I learned that it was the developer from D4, a game which I've played and experienced, and that is one crazy, insane game, and that's kind of tame compared to that game, I tell you.
Okay. So yeah, the trailer was pretty weird, and whatever you think of that, just know that Liam is buying it day one. So again, bear that in mind.
Square Enix announced Final Fantasy 15 will be coming to PC in early 2018. They also announced a new edition of the game called Pocket Edition, coming out later this year. It will launch on mobile featuring different gameplay and art than the main game, but it will have the same storyline. Square also announced Fear Effect Reinvented, a remake of Fear Effect, a cult classic third-person shooter from the PS1 days. We also saw some new footage for Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord, which showcased a 5-on-5 battle called Captain Mode, which lets players customize their army with different gear, weapons and battle formations. Sony announced Immortal Unchained, a Souls-inspired shooter for consoles and PC. We also saw some footage of Shenmue 3, which didn't impress many people, but it's the first time the game has been seen in 2 years.
So this was day 3 of Gamescom, and we were kind of keeping a running list of all these announcements on the whiteboard in the office, and like we were just standing up every 2 seconds to add something to it because it was crazy. I mean, there was a lot of these little announcements, many of which were exciting because they were just utterly unexpected. We just weren't expecting, you know, the likes of Biomutant and just, you know, I mean, Shenmue, seeing a bit more of Shenmue was kind of interesting and cemented some ideas I had about the game, certainly, because you know, the graphical, it looks shit.
I mean, a couple of years ago they released a trailer and it did look shit then. So they've updated the trailer, brought a new trailer, the graphics are upgraded from where it was, but it's still kind of shit. There's no like facial animations, and then because of all this backlash, the developers come out and said, well, these aren't the final animations. We had a working build of the animations which we've taken out for this trailer. It's not Mass Effect Andromeda, guys. Believe me, that's what he's saying.
The tone of it. All in all, though, that was probably the best day of the whole thing for me.
Anything
with
so
many things announced.
Anything with Mount & Blade 2, Bannerlord 2. Is going to be a good day in my eyes. That trailer looks awesome. 5-on-5 where you've got your squad with you that you can control yourself, you know, set up formations and shit with 4 other people on your side. It looks really tasty and
delicious.
It looks delicious for me. It's the For Honor killer. If it wasn't dead already, then look out.
You die if you're already dead. Things started to wind down news-wise by day 4, which had Blizzard and Nintendo making some fairly low-key announcements. Nintendo started the day with a live stream showing off Nintendo-themed cars in Rocket League, which are exclusive to the Switch version of the Football with Cars simulator. The only other thing Nintendo had to show was footage of a new world in Super Mario Odyssey called Luncheon Kingdom, which, as the name suggests, is a world themed around food. Blizzard then took the spotlight announcing a new map for Overwatch, a new character for Heroes of the Storm, and they ran 2 animated shorts, one for Hearthstone, one for Overwatch. Capcom then showed off some 4-player co-op gameplay for Monster Hunter World, which looked awesome. Ace Combat 7 was shown off with developer commentary, Biomutant was given an in-depth 11-minute gameplay demo, and Divinity Original Sin 2 had its own co-op trailer, which looked very nice indeed.
Also, PlayerUnknown himself, Brandon Green, gave us a quick glimpse at the new desert map for Battlegrounds, which looks promising. The map was shown in a single screenshot and it is noticeably smaller than the current map, but it has skyscrapers, with Green saying the new map will have a focus on verticality rather than wide open spaces. But according to VG247, the map is apparently 8 to 9 months away from release yet, so there's still a long time to wait. But the game just keeps on growing with over 8 million copies sold so far.
I'm sorry, 8 to 9 months away for that map.
That sounds shit. I mean, the game's supposed to be released before the end of the year, so that means that the map is coming out after the game gets released. That is apparently the information we've got here.
That's a long time. But I'm sure there's good reason. I mean, these maps are very detailed.
I'll tell you what the reason is, that they're focusing on putting it on the Xbox instead of focusing on the PC version like they should have done all along.
Getting that
fixing the
microtransactions.
That's it, innit?
Getting those microtransactions just right.
I mean, I like the game and all, but you know.
Why are you so hard to love, Battlegrounds?
It is hard to love at the moment, it really is. I'm talking about Battlegrounds. The Invitational happened yesterday, day one of which, by the time you're watching this video, it's probably all concluded by now. It was a bit of a shit show apparently because the camera work was, let's just say, a bit suspect. They kept jumping from the action to like somebody sitting behind a wall or something. So they've still got like things to iron out with regard to covering that game esports. This is the first time that they'd featured it in some sort of live event. So you know, there's teething problems in it.
I guess so, yeah. But you just get a broadcast editor, isn't it? Just someone who knows when to cut from one camera to the next, and you wouldn't be cutting to people sitting in a bush doing fuck all and stuff like that when there was really no need to do that. So
the commentators were even saying, "Oh, why have you gone to this guy?" And like they should have been listening to the commentators and following what the action was doing.
So as far as overall thoughts of Gamescom this year, I thought I was just really enjoyed all the little announcements that we got. You know, there's so many unexpected games that just popped up and teasers for things that we didn't know existed, and lots of gameplay footage that were interesting. My biggest highlight was probably Biomutant. I mean, I know it's got a lot of stick online, and some people saying it looks janky and stuff after that 11-minute demo that they showed off, which maybe they shouldn't have. The idea of it, the world of it, the mechanics that they've shown off, I feel like they can tidy that up and polish it up by the time it's ready to release. And Biomutant was my highlight for sure. But then, you know, there's other things like Age of Empires 4. What a nice surprise that was. All these like strategy management games that are just popping up, like Jurassic World and stuff like that. Awesome. There was a lot of things I weren't expecting, and that's probably the best thing about Gamescom this year for me.
And speaking of nice surprises, let's have a look at what you left us in the comments this week. First up, on how much should we pay for games, Franz Patterson comments, PGG is a part of my morning routine. What, like shitting or, you know?
I think it's a compliment. Is what it's. Can't go for
coffee shitting PGG. Commenting
on how much should we pay for games. There's far too many vowels in that. Metanoyance says, "Who the f dislikes these videos?" That's unpopular opinions, isn't it? And here's the thing. This is an opinion channel. We don't just give you the news. We give you our interpretation of the news as well. Some people don't want that, and whatever side you go on, this is the internet. So there'll be people on the other side of it. You say something's good, you're biased towards that thing, you were paid to say it. You say it's bad, you complain too much. You can't win.
Next up, on This Is What Happens When Indie Games Go AAA, Declan Farrell comments, you guys look baked AF, bro.
I don't know where this comes from. It's like, why do you guys look so stoned? I don't know. Is it the lights?
Maybe it's that reefer we just
might be that.
shared.
As if we're that cool. As if. And Aaron Smith comments on how much should we pay for games. £60 to £70 with no bullshit transactions, just quality DLC and expansions. I would rather just save up a bit of money and pay more for a game and not have to deal with all the bollocks. Fortnite in particular is one that frustrates me because I know it's a free-to-play game, but you have to pay f***ing 32 quid to get into it at the moment, and what you've got to deal with in there is just too much microtransactions, too much bollocks. I would happily pay a bit more to get into it and not have to deal with that bollocks.
And last up, on Mass Effect Andromeda is dead, Danny Damiza comments, told you so. Don't be that guy, Danny. Just don't be that guy.
So those are our thoughts on Gamescom 2017. What were your highlights? Let us know down in the comments. Remember to like the video if you did enjoy it, subscribe, you can see more stuff like this every day. There's another video right there which you could watch right now, and there's a link to Patreon if you want to support the channel. See you next time.